I think there are people coming with me. They'll be here in a minute. Thanks, Commissioner. I'm starting, yeah. Thank you for coming. I want to invite you all to the Belichick Room, formerly known as the Eagle Room, in the city of Boston, no longer the Eagle Room. But in all seriousness, I want to thank you for coming today. I want to thank Gina Fandaka from Transportation, who's here with us, Chief Willie Gross, the Boston Police Department, Renee Fielding from Chief of Emergency Management, and Commissioner Billy Evans for being with us today. All the public safety agencies that are represented here today, as well as we don't have them here, but the police and EMS, the fire and EMS also as well is part of the conversations. I want to thank the New England Patriots for getting us to this point. This is the two things that I think we can count on every year in this room here is snow press conferences and Super Bowl conversations. So I want to thank the Patriots for that. I want to thank the Patriots for having an incredible season. They've proven once again that nothing can keep them down as a football team. Incredible what they've been able to do. The entire city of Boston has had an amazing time watching this team getting the job done week after week and watching them improve from the first game with Kansas City until the last game with Jacksonville has been incredible. And this Sunday is a day that we've been waiting for since last year, and we want to make sure that it's a great experience for everyone in the city of Boston. As always, safety is our #1 concern and #1 priority. We know that people like celebrating, and everyone will be celebrating Sunday prior to the game. We know that a lot of people are going to be coming into the city. Super Bowl parties, obviously something that people have, and in particular when our team's in it. We're going to be activating our emergency operations center to make sure that we're up and running for that event. Our public safety agencies like the police, fire, EMS will be ready to respond to any situation that arises. What we need most is the help from the public. I'll be calling all the fans to help us out in being responsible. Whatever the outcome of the game, we're asking you to be smart. Whether it's a win or a loss, we're asking you to act appropriately and understand that there are going to be people outside in the public that have no idea there was a football game, and we want to make sure that we keep all of the public safe. We want to remind you, if you drink responsibly. Do not drink and drive. Never drink and drive. Use public transportation whenever it's possible. We're also going to be working in our districts to make sure that our districts are safe as well in the city of Boston, so we're not taking our resources from our district. The police that you see on duty on the night of the Super Bowl, most of those police officers will be ordered to work, so they will not be watching the game. They will not be spending time with their families. They will not be at a Super Bowl party. They'll be working on behalf of the city of Boston, so we have the proper staffing in the city of Boston. As we've done in the past, we're going to enact temporary parking and access restrictions in some areas of the city. Commissioner Evans is going to provide more details on that. We also have sent a letter to all of the colleges and the other community members, asking them for their cooperation so that they can make sure that their students act responsibly here in the city of Boston. And this is not our first time in this situation. We've been in this situation many times. So I'm expecting that everyone will do what they have to do to make sure that we have a good, safe Super Bowl Sunday here in the city of Boston. What I'll do is I'm going to turn the microphone over to Commissioner Evans, and then we'll answer questions at the end.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. We have a good plan. I think, like the mayor said, this is our 8th time with the Patriots, and between the Patriots, Red Sox, Celtics, and Bruins, we've developed these plans and tweaked them, and so we'll have a lot of officers out on the streets, like the mayor said, and I want to thank my Boston police officers for the job. Not only they do every day, but the sacrifices. And that's one of the drawbacks, believe it or not, of the Patriots winning and being in the Super Bowl, is our officers have to come in. And they do a great job that night, and I don't expect anything less on this particular night. Our biggest message is, obviously we want the Patriots to win, but we want, if people come out, to celebrate responsibly, and more importantly, we don't want anyone hurt. As a result of that, you'll see some restrictions in the area, and those restrictions have been put out there. We did have a meeting with all the colleges on Monday in our building, asking for their cooperation. A letter was emailed by me to all the students in Boston about acting responsibly and having a good time, and go Pats. And we've had multiple meetings with other agencies such as the state police, the FBI, obviously our inter-agencies, Gina Fendaka, Renee, who's here, about a good safety plan. So just be aware, you know, come Sunday night, at the end of the third quarter, parking restrictions and road closures are going to go into effect around Kenmore Square. So no one's going to be allowed access into Kenmore Square. And that would be Beacon, that would be Comm Ave, coming in eastbound, and obviously all along Kilmarnock Street, Bay State Road. That whole area will be restricted after the 3rd. There'll be parking restrictions also across the city, and I want to thank Commissioner Van Darker. You know, so Brighton, around Harvard and Brighton Ave, there'll be a stretch of no parking there, because we've had celebrations and people jumping on cars there. Kenmore Square, I said, Hemingway Street area will have restrictions. Not obviously down around the TD North will have restrictions, and down around Quincy Market. Wherever we have a lot of bars and a lot of college areas, we'll have some parking restrictions. Again, it's not to inconvenience so much as it is to just make sure our fans and the kids come out and we don't have vandalism and anybody getting hurt at all. I will tell you, if you're coming down to Kenmore Square and you're going to the bars, at the end of the 3rd, if you don't have your car out of those parking lots, you're going to be locked into, we think it's safe that you can come out of those parking lots. We've already made outreach to those parking lots. They're aware of it. I've seen signs up wanting the fans, but again, that's just to not let fans drive out into a crowd that might be celebrating out in Kenmore Square. Again, we don't anticipate any issues. When they beat Arizona, we had no issues. When they beat Seattle, we didn't. But this plan has worked very well. I also want to thank Commissioner Paugini from the Licensing Commission. We've been working with a lot of the licensed premise in the bars, and we've asked them to cooperate. So starting Sunday night and going through the weekend, we'll have our licensing unit out speaking to the bars, warning them about overcrowding, warning them about overconsumption, asking for their cooperation that when they reach capacity, that they end the line and ask patrons to go other places. But if you're in that restricted area, at the end of the 3rd, if there's a line out front, you're going to be asked to move out of the restricted area. We will not be putting anything on windows like we have in years past to restrict viewing if people are in line. And obviously, we're not going to restrict the media at all from going in that area. The only thing we will restrict from the media is their trucks being in that ground zero, because we don't want your trucks being vandalized. So some of the precautions from years past are in place, but some of them have been obviously lax because we haven't had any issues whatsoever. Hopefully, again, we have no issues, but just to make you aware, there's going to be plenty of officers in uniform, officers undercover. We will deploy a lot more cameras in these areas so we have good eyes on the crowd. Obviously, we have state police, we have the various college police, everybody helping us to make sure this goes off as well. Our number one goal here is for the Pats to win and nobody get hurt. So I appreciate everyone's cooperation. Thank you.
Any questions?
Are there any restrictions on the bars in terms of will they be shut off in terms of when they can stop serving, or will it be the same?
No restrictions on serving. All we're asking, especially in the Kenmore Square area, at the end of the 3rd, if people are lined up, let's say at the Cask and Flagon, we're going to ask the line to move outside the barriers. What we also ask them too is, once people leave that night, that they don't let anyone back in, so we can ask people to go home. And obviously, we don't want any overconsumption, but as far as restrictions, no. We'll have a lot of visibility over in South Boston too. Obviously, that has become a real popular for a lot of young adults. We have a lot of new bars along the seaport, a lot of new bars along West Broadway, East Broadway. So, we're going to be watching those bars. So there's no restriction on as far as shutting off the bars. All we're trying to do is manage the crowds.
You mentioned tweaks over the years. What have you tweaked since last year to this one?
Well, last year was a good plan, believe it or not. So there wasn't a whole lot of tweaking to do. What we are always concerned about is, always the capability of someone driving into crowds, about having some high visibility, eyes on large crowds. What we seen last year, and it worked real well, was a lot of the college kids went down Boylston into the Common, and they celebrated. It was great, very happy crowd, and down there they really couldn't cause any damage. And so that's what we don't want. We don't want anyone hurt. We don't want any vandalism. We just want the story to be Monday, how well the Patriots won. We don't want any tragedies.
Were there a lot of arrests over the past?
No. Very few arrests, very few vandalism. But as you know, we've had some tragedies in the past. And that's why we take these precautions. We had the Victoria Snellgrove. We had a Northeastern kid killed on Hemingway, and we had a kid in the Lansdowne take a fatal heart attack. So we've had some tragedies. So this is what we're trying to prevent.
Do you think it's because they keep on winning, it's getting less and less?
Yeah, I think. I mean, we've won 6 times. This will. I shouldn't say we've won yet, but we anticipate them winning. Yeah, but 5 times, 5.5. Let's say 5.5. But we're getting good at winning, and I wouldn't want to be in Philly, and let's hope they're celebrating that they lost. But
do you have 2 sets of plans in case the game goes away and nobody in this room wants it to go?
Well, we've been there. I was out there both nights on Brookline Ave, unfortunately, when they lost to the Giants, and people went home very respectfully, heads down. We opened up the barriers, and they went home. We've had no issues in the last couple of years, whether they won or lost.
How about the different sports? I mean, for example, it's much colder in the wintertime when the Patriots play and win as opposed to the Red Sox. Is it different in terms of dealing with the crowd that way?
I think it is. I was out there when the Red Sox won back in '04, and I was out, actually my last night as a uniformed officer was on Lansdowne Street the last time they won the pennant in 2013. And from the second inning on, we were moving crowds. So I got to say, it's probably a lot more difficult dealing in the warmer crowds, because we had people parked out on Lansdowne Street all night, and for 7 innings we were moving crowds. We had no one hurt, but I'd say it's easier in the cold.
Last question. So when's the parade going to be?
Next question. It's too early to talk about parades. We have to win the football game first. I just want to reiterate to all the fans that are listening or going to be reading something. This is our city. We're Boston. We're better than other cities. Let's make sure that we win or lose with respect. Let's make sure we treat other people's property fair and good, appropriately, the way you'd want your own property treated. And let's make sure we respect each other. And if there's Philadelphia fans that are in Boston watching the game, let's treat them with respect as well. Let's not go around and torch them. I mean, we've had some great fortune in our city in the last decade and a half with our sports teams, and our football team operates with class on the field. So as fans, we should operate class in the streets. So I want to thank you. And for all the press that's here, we have the Eagle that's in our city is actually a Pats fan. So I don't know if you can pull back the shade if you like back there. Yeah, our Eagle's a Patriots fan.
Oh my God. That's
So,
priceless.
no, it was the Eagle room. It's now the Belichick room. So thank you everyone for being here today, and go Pats.